I learn about things I want to learn, which is a little bit more of a step forward than necessarily what I'm being told to learn. And I said that that was CLI number 2, which is what was in this unit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scroll down. And as you can all see now, I'm grade 5 table. I'm going to look at my standards. Now I already know that I have to unpack from this structure. So I'd like to share with you the fastest, most efficient way to do this. I am highlighting it. I am copying it. Now this is very important. Go to the content first. I am pasting it. Now that I have pasted, there are some things I have to do before I put it in skills. Everyone with me? First, I'm going in front of reading and I'm putting an A. And I'm going to bold that heading and the subheading, key ideas and details. I am keeping that. Do you see how it has 2 1s? Look at that. See it's RL1. Can everyone see? It kind of has a 1, yeah, and then a standard, and then it has another 1. Yeah. Then it has a 2, and then another 2. See that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. This top one is called the anchor standard. That's 12th grade. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to only keep this piece because this is the piece of the puzzle I have to do in the unit. We ready?
Yes. Oh. Yeah.
So I just don't want anyone to have a heart attack when they see me go like this. Oh, but I see craft and structure, so I bold it. I get rid of the anchor standard. Now I have writing. So what am I going to put next to writing?
B.
B. Yes, I love you all in a deep and meaningful way. So now I've got that. Now, something about writing standards. Yeah, there's something going on here, right? So you see the first one is write an informative explanatory text to examine and convey complex ideas and information. You with me on this? Yeah. That's called a super standard. It's a superset, write an informational. Well, what am I going to do that? Well, let's look at A. I'm going to introduce a topic clearly. Yeah, there it is. These are the details. This is a superset. Deleting it. I'm just keeping the heading. So I might just go writing. Are you okay?
So you're taking 5.2 away, but you're keeping 5.2a.
Correct. Because watch, if I get rid of the superset, if I get rid of the anchor standard, but now look at this. Write an informative explanatory text to examine a topic and convey ideas and information clearly.
Yeah, that's too big.
It's huge. This has to be precise. All right, how we doing? And for the record, just between you and I, you can sit here and take the standards out too. I have them in the unit already. I don't need them here. And the headings that stay help the teacher know what we're talking about. So for this, I might just I'm going to keep a little bit of it just to play it out, but you'll see I will let it go when we go to try and be precise. Now, see this heading? I'm going to bold it, but I am not giving it another letter. Please notice I'm keeping the subheadings, but I am not, otherwise you're going to end up with letters A through double C. You with me on that? You don't want that. All right, produce clear and coherent writing. Oh, that's a what?
Super.
There it is. But I'm going to keep research and build, present knowledge. But look at this. By range of writing. And this. By. Now I'm at speaking and listening, which will become my C. Is for will be?
T.
Now look at it again, just to bring it home. Do you see that? Look at this standard. This is technically the standard. Demonstrate command of the conventions of standard English. Many of you will accidentally start to unpack that. But what they really mean is, A, explain the function of conjunctions. Now I know my piece of the puzzle. So for unpacking, right, but I need that to be, sorry, I keep messing up here. All right, now we're missing a heading. This is why it's very important for one of the colleagues to actually have the original standards open. Because sometimes when it comes through the database, does everyone see where I just ended up? I just went from language conventions of standard English, but read this one. This is vocab. But I'm missing the heading, and I need that heading. So I'm going to put it in. And how would I have known that that was the heading? Let's go see if it's in the standards. No, it didn't show up, but watch. Oh, sorry. By the way, anyone watching the screen while I'm doing that who had a nausea?
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. I'm doing this as like a think aloud. I got nothing for you. Don't stare at the screen. Don't stare. And not yet. Now stare. Here's the heading. See? Vocabulary acquisition and use. So unless you were actually looking at the standards, it wouldn't have come with you, because that's for standards 4, 5, and 6. And in this unit, they only pulled 6. So the heading didn't come. So having someone at the table, having the original standards open while you're doing this to catch those headings will be key. Otherwise, when you get to the content, it's a giant bulleted list. No brain, no human brain, dare interact with a giant bulleted list that doesn't have any separation of those little headings to help make sense, okay? So now I have to delete which one? Oh, sorry. Gone. Now I have simplified my list. I am now going to highlight the whole thing as is. And now I will cut and paste it over in skills. All right, how we doing?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So in some of our standards, underneath the standard, it has sub-bullets. So for example, the standard is read with sufficient accuracy and fluency to support comprehension. And then under that it has A, read grade level text with purpose and understanding. B, so there's like subheadings of the subheadings of the subheadings.
Yep.
When we put that into our content list,
What I tend to do is initially, I take the whole thing. I don't automatically delete any of those. But when I start the unpacking process, I might pull 1 or 2 pieces of content to go over. But I will end up using the skill is probably coming from the A or the B or the C.
gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. Believe me, again, years of my life gone from overthinking the unpacking process. So if it seems overly simplified, it's just me trying to get quickly into the part that's going to get you bang for the buck. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. I'm just deleting the standards because, again, I don't need them anymore. And you will have some people who will sit here and tell you to put baby codes in and keep them and all kinds of things like that. And I'm never going to say anything bad about that. And the only reason is because you want this to be simple. You want a teacher, you're not teacher proofing this. You want a teacher to be able to look at this list and know exactly what lesson plans they're going to. They're not overthinking their alignment to standards anymore. This has become the bare minimum. You with me on that? If they want to know what standards it is, where will they go? That's right. They can go right here. They're sitting there. So again, if it feels redundant, it is. All right, moving on. What I like to do here, now I'm going to follow that protocol. What I'm about to do is called a high-speed unpack. It's a rough draft unpack. So what I'm going to go after, the nouns. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to start deleting things that I don't need. So here we go. Quote accurately from a text. All right, so I've got a text. And I've got what the text actually says. Oh, I've got some inferences. Because the students would need to learn what an inference is if I expect them to draw it. And it's from the text, and I can delete that because I've already got the text. Now I have 2 or more main ideas. That's a thing. So I have 2 or more main ideas. I don't need to say of a text again. I have a text. And I've got the fact, I've got key details. I got these things called the key details. And I've got a summary. Wow. There's this thing called a summary. The child needs to know what a summary is if I expect them to summarize. I take that, because I've noticed I've reached my next heading. So I'm going to bullet it. Got it. Next. Now I'm under craft and structure, so let's see what we got. I've got determine the meaning of, here we go. So we've got some general academic, and I've got some domain specific. Words, and I've got words, and I've got some phrases. And they're in a text. Relevant to grade 5 topics or subject areas. I get it, I'm in 5th grade. All right, that's it. I've hit my next heading, bullet it. Now once I do this, I've hit the end of reading. I'm now in writing. Does everyone see that? So now I go back and I look and I go, can I delete anything more? Because I kind of have a text up there, and then I have in a text down here again. I'm ready to prioritize now. Do I need both of those, or do I get it? Kind of keep the top one, right? Moving on, deleting. So there's one more layer of keep and delete that goes on right before you go into the next section. Now I have, in its briefest way, the concepts that a child has to learn to be successful here. They have to work with text. They have to know what inferences are. They're going to be working with 2 or more main ideas. So any idea of just one main idea is not going to be cutting it. They have to know what key details are, and they have to know what a summary is. They're going to work with general academic and domain-specific vocabulary, and I'm dealing with words and phrases. That's what I'm dealing with at the 5th grade level. Wow, that was incredible. Does that make sense? Yeah. But wait, order now, and we will double your order. Let's go over to the skills. Can we go over to the skills parts of this? When I go into skills, this is so much fun. I just go in front of every verb and just hit enter. It's like just, wow. Here we go. A1, quote accurately from a text, verb. A2, explain what the text says explicitly. And A3, draw inferences from the text. Quote accurately from a text. And I tend to bold the verbs when I do this part. Explain what the text says explicitly.
Should we keep this a secret from everyone?
No.
They're going to think you spent hours and hours. And you're like, and they were so observable and measurable, right? That took like an extra master's course right there. Okay, here we go. And now they need to draw inferences from the text. Next. A4. Determine 2 or more main ideas of a text. And enter. A5, explain how, now they are what? Explain how the main idea are supported by the key details. And last but not least, A6, summarize the text.
Where your knitting needle?
We have standards.
Right. Curriculum surgery.
Now I'm under a new heading, so what do I go to? A7. Determine the meaning of general academic, now there's an and. When there's an and, I must divide it. A8. Determine the meaning of domain-specific words. Now, it says and phrases. I'm going to keep those together because it's 5th grade. Determine. Now, is determine observable and measurable enough for you? Oh, now it says in a text, relevant to grade. No, I know I'm in 5th grade. All right.
Determine is kind of fuzzy here.
It's one of those. So now we have to sit here and turn to a colleague and go, if it says determine the meaning of general academic words and phrases, what would it look like, sound like, or feel like in your classroom? And if the teacher can say, well, that's when we do the blah, 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 you're good to go. If the teacher goes, well, I suppose it could be when, maybe if it's, maybe when they're defining their vocab words or when they're reading their text and they have to find their vocab words, bingo! Change it to define the meaning of general academic words and phrases or find domain-specific vocabulary in a text. You with me on that? We have to listen to each other for that process. Now, I don't have your 5th grade teachers here with me today, but that's what I would do to find out if that is observable or measurable enough. That withstanding, tell me, folks, what do you think?
No.
Should I keep it determined? I mean, determined is technically there, or should I change it?
Change
I would change it.
Can I use define?
Yeah.
And hopefully then the faculty will say, I know exactly what lesson plans I'm heading for.